How are all of you lovely people doing today? My name is John, and welcome to another fantastic episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. This is a series where I take your questions about the zombie storyline and I take them on. Whether it's a big, a small, or a simple question, I'm always happy to answer them. You could either leave your questions down below or tweet me at JohnnyJ25. Either way, you may be in the next episode. Before we get things rolling, I want to mention that by the time you're seeing this, I'm going to be at Call of Duty XP. So if you guys are also going to be at Call of Duty XP and you see me and you want to say hi, please feel free to. I'll be there wearing my Johnny J25 Zombie Killer t-shirt, so if you see a guy wearing his own t-shirt looking like a scrub, it might be me. Feel free to say hi or anything like that. Without further ado though, let's begin. We're going to kick off today's episode with a question from Rico Kelly, who asks, why are the children so important to save and preserve? This is a great question and one that hasn't fully been fleshed out. The children are important to the story. They've been the focal point of Black Ops 3. However, they've only ever been talked about in an abstract sense. We've said that we need to save the children, or that the children will be safe in the home, but we never say why we need to preserve the children, or why the children are safe in the home. We just are told that. We might have an answer, though, to this question from Nikolai's Memories trailer. Check it out.
My path is chosen. Our fate is sealed. But the innocent, the children, those untainted by darkness and chaos, they can find a better tomorrow.
Nikolai directly mentions the children and says that they have the potential to find a better tomorrow. And this is because they haven't been tainted by the darkness. It seems as though the rest of our characters have. These characters have seen some shit. There is, of course, the evil Nazi Richtofen, who is notorious for butchering his patients. There's Dr. Maxis for spearheading Group 935. There's Takio, Nikolai, and Tank, who all have infamous war records. There's Samantha, who has been corrupted by the evil and at one point led hordes of zombies. All of these characters were at some point tainted or manipulated by the darkness or in some way have a dark past behind them. But these children are far more innocent, and if we can protect the children from the evil, the darkness that tries to taint them, then maybe a better tomorrow can be found. This idea of corruption is an idea that keeps popping up in zombies over and over and over. Richtofen was originally corrupted by the voices in his head. The voices were what told him to kill Dr. Maxis. We even see it reoccur in the Revelations prologue, as Dr. Maxis is manipulated by the darkness. The Shadow Man corrupts him and causes him to open up him from the summoning key. And by taking the children at one of their most innocent states before they've ever really come in contact with any sort of darkness that could potentially taint them, we can preserve them and prevent them from ever being exposed, and then they can go on to find a better tomorrow. He says his fate is sealed, and this is because he's already experienced the darkness, but the children, they have not, and that's why the children need to be saved and preserved. We're not sure what exactly the children can do that will allow them to find a better tomorrow, but if anybody in the zombie storyline has the potential to, it's the children, and that's why they need to be preserved. We're now going to move on to a question from Dylan G, who asks, can you explain the sirens and Maxis calling the kids in the Origins cutscene? Yeah, so the siren was first seen in this moment of the Origins ending cutscene.
Children, make sure the windows are locked before you come down to the basement.
We then didn't really know what that siren was referring to. We found out about the siren again from the giant radio.
Day 66. The children are gone, and the house feels empty. I miss their laughter, their games. The sirens have not sounded for several months. I do believe that we may have turned the tide in the battle. But at what cost? The radiation levels from the fallout remain dangerously high. I can only pray I live long enough to confirm that my plan was indeed successful. And the dark presence that has haunted our dreams and infected every facet of our existence has finally been vanquished.
From these two references to a siren, we had assumed that maybe when the siren goes off, something is happening. You need to watch out for something. Typically, like when there's about to be a nuclear bomb going off, you might hear a siren off in the distance. He keeps mentioning radiation, so maybe whenever something causes radiation levels to go up, that siren goes off. But turns out that's not actually the case, because we hear the siren for a third time in the Revelations prologue. It's right as the children are playing in the room, and then right after that, our characters teleport into the map, and this gives us a better understanding of what that siren actually means. What the siren means is that somebody is coming through the teleporter, and now we can start to understand Maxis's distress when he says that the siren has not rang for many days. What this means is that he's been living in the house by himself for quite a long time. He's getting lonely. Isolation is a heavy toll to take after a while, and it's starting to wear him down. He wishes the siren would ring, because that would mean somebody's here to visit him. He has some company. Maybe there has been further progress in his plan, and either Richthofen or another character, potentially Monty, is teleporting in. That's what the siren means. The siren is a reference to the teleporter, and this is indicated by the fact that our characters teleport in as the siren is going off. Now, why Maxis calls the kids in the original Origins cutscene is hard to say. What I can assume is that the siren's going off, which means somebody's teleporting in, and then he wants the kids to come down and see whoever is teleporting into the map, whoever that may be. We have no idea. Potentially Richthofen? Maybe somebody else. Maybe it was Richthofen teleporting in right after he got the Chronorium. It could be anybody, but that's what the siren means. We're going to end today's episode with a question from Serial Guy on Twitter, who asks, Johnny, is Samantha Maxis' real son? Now, when you said son, I'm pretty sure you meant daughter, so we're just going to assume that's what you're going for. It sounds like a silly question. Samantha and Maxis, of course they're father and daughter. That's what we've been told from the very beginning. Except there's a little bit of controversy and a little bit of confusion surrounding whether or not Samantha and Maxis are really father and daughter. Let me explain. In Deriz, when we were first introduced to these characters, we were told they're father and daughter. I mean, listen to this radio from Deriz, and you can clearly see a father giving his daughter a gift.
Now, you must be very diligent, Princess Samantha. Owning a dog is a great responsibility.
Yes, Father. Oh, I love her.
You must feed her every day and walk her, and be very careful when you play with her. You know she's going to have puppies.
Really? Can I keep the puppies too, Father?
We'll see, Samantha. One step at a time.
And that's how we knew these characters. They were always father and daughter. Except things started to change once Origins came out. We have this radio of Dr. Maxis in which he has no idea who Samantha is.
The child's voice calls to me more frequently than ever. At first, she spoke only of her imprisonment in a mythical realm known as Agartha. Now she claims to be my daughter, even though I know no such child exists. I fear my sanity may be slipping away from me.
So this is strange, and let me explain what's going on. We have many different universes and many different timelines going on in which a number of different events happen and life takes different paths. In the original Zombies timeline, Dr. Maxis has a wife. His wife unfortunately dies, but before she dies, they conceive Samantha. They are related. In the original timeline, Samantha is Dr. Maxis' daughter. But in the Origins timeline, things are different. Either Maxis doesn't marry, or he hasn't met his wife yet. And what happens is that he just never has a daughter. Samantha never enters his life. But all of a sudden, Samantha, a different Samantha from a different universe, is reaching out to this Dr. Maxis, the Dr. Maxis from the Origins universe. And she's claiming to be his daughter because she technically is, except that this Maxis just doesn't have a daughter yet. It's almost like if your son from the future who you've yet to have is also a time traveler and goes back and meets you. except rather than be from the future, is probably from a different universe and is trapped in Argatha. That's what's going on in Origins, and that's where the confusion comes up when people wonder whether or not Dr. Maxis and Samantha are really father and daughter. I would say the current story, just so that you're not confused, look at it like this. The Dr. Maxis that we see in the Revelations prologue is not the father of the Samantha that we see in the house, but they are technically father and daughter. It's just that they're not the pair for one another. It's complicated. Things get weird when you enter the multiverse and you have several different millions of universes with millions of different outcomes. That's going to wrap things up for this episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. If you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a like, possibly subscribe for more. I'm always doing videos on the zombie storyline, answering your questions and clearing up as many confusions as possible as we try to solve our way through this convoluted story. Of course, I'm going to be at Call of Duty XP. If you see me there, please do be sure to say hi. I'd love to meet some of you out there. I think that'd be awesome. It'd be great to put a face to some of the comments that I see and people on Twitter and whatnot. I'm going to go, though. Have a wonderful day, and bye.